Good afternoon, everybody. It's a dog with you, H. Weber, on another Monday. And if anybody sees Punxsutawney Phil, please hit him in the back of the head. So much for early spring. When you wake up this morning, a little snow on the ground, give me a break. But hopefully this will be the end of it. All right, no more snow brushes. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, we got a gentleman who's a good friend of mine. He is Vice President of Security at Del Lago. You wonder what all those folks do wearing the maroon jackets? Well, he's here to tell us about that and his career, what it's all about at Del Lago and Security. Welcome to the show. Well, a very pleasant good afternoon. How we doing on a Monday? Hope you're doing well. Yep, we're on a countdown, baby. After today, we've got 2 more shows with guests, and then we do the finale, and it'll be a special finale on the 22nd as I hang up my broadcasting microphone and these headsets forever, I trust, and get a chance to get back to the Seneca Falls Country Club and try to hit the ball in the air. That's my goal. But it's great to have you all alongside. We got a big special show, by the way, on the 22nd. We'll get to that next week when we come back for another program. But Jimmer McCormack's my guest today. I see Jimmer all over the casino. He walks by our promotions desk where I work part-time. Jimmer, thanks for spending some time with us.
You're welcome.
Talk a little bit about yourself. Give us a little overview for folks who may not know you personally, where you were born, your college, your education, and give us an update on that.
I was born in Geneva, New York. I've lived there my entire life. I went to Catholic school, and I graduated from Geneva High. In April of 1980, I got hired by the Ontario County Sheriff's Department, where I worked there for 5 years as a road patrol deputy. I left there and had a short stint with Canandaigua PD, about 8 months, and then in September of 85, I come on the job with the New York State Police.
And how long were you with the state trooper?
A little over 31 years.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, on that topic of being a state trooper, I know you see these issues that people get into now with the local climate that's out there. When somebody comes up on a speeding ticket, you never know what to expect. I'm sure 31 years, you probably had some incidents. It seems to me, and you obviously were a trooper for many, many years, and besides that, you did other work. Not a very comfortable job being a police officer, is it?
No,
with
not
what
at
you
all.
see in the news every night.
Not at all. When I came on the job, if you were on the side of the road and you were wrestling with somebody, 3 people would have stopped to lend you a hand. If it happened today, 3 people would stop and take a video of it and then post it to Instagram or Facebook or some other social media forum.
Yeah.
So it's totally changed.
It's amazing, too, and I don't see it changing either in the future. It's amazing what you see on the news every night.
I don't either.
Yeah, I hope it changes. It's too bad for all of the officers, not just state troopers, but anybody who does that type of work. It's difficult work. So, Jimmer, at Del Lago, of course, as you know and I know, we've been open 2 years and 2 months. We opened up February 1st, 2017. Tell us a bit about your opportunity to come in and head up security. Obviously, with your credentials, you were a perfect pick, but tell us about your thought process of coming and taking that job.
Well, I never actually applied for the job, so to speak. I had a meeting at probably like May of 2016 with then Yuri Basins, who was the assistant GM, Jeff Babinski, who was a GM, and Jim McCormack, who I knew, who was worked for Wilmerite, and he was the clerk of the works. He was in charge of the construction project, so I knew Jim. So my bosses, 2 of the state, actually 3 of my state police bosses had talked about getting into contact out there once they opened, how we would respond there, how we would take care of calls out there for service and things of that nature. So I set up a lunch with them at Parker's in Seneca Falls. And we sat in the back room, and we were probably there like an hour and a half. It was just the group of us. Dave Stebbins was one of them, Rick Allen, who's now an inspector with the state police, and George Del Negro, who's now the captain. And again, we just had a casual conversation about how things were going to be at the casino once they opened, and explained how the state police, do business here. Because Yuri spent most of his career down in the Louisiana, Mississippi way, and then had worked for Wilmerite for, 10 or 12 years before he came to work here. And Jeff Babinski came from St. Louis, so they were in the city of St. Louis, so they had their own police department. But the next day, I was driving to work, and Yuri called me on the phone, and they all exchanged business cards. I didn't, and he called me on the phone and told me what a great guy I was and self-confident, all these things, and I laughed to myself. I said, "What does he want to date me?" I mean, that kind of thing. But so he asked me if I would be interested in retiring and coming to work for them. So Fast forward maybe 3 weeks later, went over to Generations here in Seneca Falls, had an interview with Jerry Moran, who was then the head of HR. He was a senior VP in charge of HR, and we talked for 10 minutes about the job and 20 minutes about the New York Giants, and then I didn't hear anything. It went most of the summer. I hadn't talked to them. My wife kept encouraging me to go back and hound them and call them and stop there, and you should stop there in uniform, and I just didn't. And I didn't tell anybody either. I only told my wife, and then I think it was like August 24th, they called me and said the job was mine. So,
yeah, so that's awesome. So you had to put together a team. Obviously, the distinguishing factor, they all wear the same color uniform, which I like.
Yep.
So when you assemble a team, because we're 24 hours, as you know, we never close. Everybody says to me, when you close, never.
Right.
So you outline, obviously, how many people you thought you not thought, but you probably put this on paper and determined how many you needed for each shift to cover this and that. But, security guards, and I know, as you know, I know most of them because I've been out there for a couple of years. First year working with Jimmy Wilmot when I was a consultant doing buses upstairs, or I should say, getting them registered because we were brand new and they had to follow the New York Gaming Commission regulations. As you know, it's pretty thick, pretty thick manual. And I've got to know pretty much not all of your security people, but I know a lot of them, and they're good friends of mine. When you outlined the staffing, a lot of them have correction officers, obviously.
Yes.
So what were you looking for? That type of background or some sort of...
Not necessarily.
Just basically common sense scenario? How did you look at that?
Yeah, and when we were pre-opening, I had pretty much 3 months to hire 140 people and do the policies and the rules and the regulations and the duties and responsibilities. So it was nonstop. 7 days a week, some 14, 16-hour days. I mean, it was never ending. So then we moved to the casino. Even though it wasn't open yet, we were occupying offices there. And we also, once we put the first slot machine on the floor, it became a gaming location. So there were rules and regulations even for the construction people. Even though the machines weren't powered up and people weren't playing them, they have to be guarded. So it was a crazy time, but I miraculously survived it, and I learned a lot. I mean, Jeff and Yuri and Frank and Lance and all those guys and gals taught me a lot because they've all had a varied and a number of years in casinos and worked in several different properties, and obviously it was my first casino. So.
And it would be remiss on my part during this interview. Jimmer McCormack is my special guest, good friend of mine out of Del Lago. He's, of course, the vice president of security. You see a lot of maroon coats when you walk through the casino. I've had more people ask me, what do they actually do? Well, we're finding out right now. They do a lot of things. And first and foremost, the security at the door entrances obviously is paramount number one because, as you know, it's 21 or older. I know a few have tried to slip by, and you guys do a great job, and your team does a great job of putting an end to that. Do you like the 21 age group? Do you like the 21 scenario?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because they can wait to get here to a casino, right? I mean,
and the other thing is if you the Indian casinos or the Native American casinos, I should say, are 18 and over. But then you have the caveat that they can't drink. So what would it take for somebody to walk up who's 21, get 6 drinks, and then hand it off to their buddy who's 19? Right.
So that 21 rule, just by the way, if you're checking us out for the first time, if you want to go to Del Lago, we would love to have you come out there. But remember, it's 21 or older. And I crack up because I get some people, because I work part-time, as Jimmer knows, at promotions, and they say, any exceptions to that rule? No, there's none. So, by the way, you can come in the hotel entrance. You can there, and you can go to Social and have dinner with your family, and the seniors, the 21 and older, can go to the casino. The other ones have to depart with grandma or grandpa to go home or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. But back to the workers and the security people that I get to meet every day, and I usually work morning shifts. I had a 10 to 2 again today. They just don't do. They walk around when they're not doing a projected that you've asked them to do on a day-to-day basis of certain check marks that you have them do. But I think people don't realize, and again, I can speak volumes in this because I'm in promotions, somebody is missing their wife. And I look it up and find out if they're playing in the location. We call down to security. They're so kind. They come over. And Brian did just a couple of days ago. You hand the information to him and takes the lady, and they usually 99% of the time find him. And that's something people don't realize that you guys help us out with.
Yeah.
You're always doing that
if
stuff.
If somebody's logged in with their player's card into a machine or a table game, we can find out where they are in real time in the casino.
Right, and it's very important to know. And, and I think that people don't realize that, and I know your team has always been hospitable to incoming guests. That's part of what you want them to do, because you want to welcome them. And I think it's I need to ask this question because I've been asked this many, many times, and I think I know your answer. When we first opened, there was a question of security, and you guys put that together. You did. But backpacks. People said to me when we first opened up, I see a bunch of people walking around with these good-sized backpacks. Why are they allowed in the casino? Question number one. And why aren't they kept separate and booked into a different room and checked out at the door, knowing what we know based on what you see in the news? I guess that's the question. I need some. You could tell me the theory behind it.
Yeah, the backpack, we've talked about it many times, and I don't think we see that many of them, but they're no worse than a woman's purse. I mean, you could put a lot of stuff in a woman's purse.
Okay, very well.
I know I pick my wife's up, but sometimes it weighs 40 pounds. I don't know what she's got in there, but it's no different. Right. Now, we do check when they come into the Vine for shows. We do check backpacks. We do check purses and stuff like that. But generally, just to come on the casino floor, we don't. I mean, there are people that check into the hotel that bring their bags. And generally, once they check in, they go to their room. But they've seen people walk across the floor with their luggage from the parking garage.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's a good question. I knew you'd give me a good answer. That's right. Well, people are asking me, why do we allow backpacks? And I see, and you're right, I don't see a lot of them. And once in a while, I'll see a couple people going by when I think about it. And I knew you were coming on the show, so I had to ask. Well, listen, it's 12 minutes after the hour at 3 o'clock. Jimmer McCormack's my special guest today. We're going to find out about, he talked about his love for playing golf. We're going to talk about what he does when he's not overseeing this huge number of security guards out there. And by the way, Jimmer, I would be remiss. I saw your good buddy Mac, the knife, at the bubble on the way out today.
Yes.
And he told me that you need to improve your golf game because he's kind of carrying you around.
That is funny. He told me you were going to bring that up. Yeah.
And I did. So, anyways, Mac, there you go, is your shout out. You may not be working for him tomorrow, but I just brought it up on the show.
Brian's one of our best.
He is. He's a great guy. Him and Denny do a great job.
Yes,
they're good guys.
Yes, they do.
Well, listen, this is Weber This Week. My friend Jimmer McCormack's with us. We're going to continue to find out what he does when he's not working and a whole lot more. This is Weber This Week. Let's hear from our great sponsors. Del Lago Resort and Casino has something for everyone. 2,000 slot machines, 99 gaming tables, the Vine featuring top national music and comedy acts, the dining options, the great portico by Fabio Viviani, the Farmers Market Buffet, the Social Cafe and Bar, and the 14,000 square foot European-style spa. Del Lago offers massages, body treatments, and facials, plus a full-service salon. Visit DelLagoResort.com for more information. Cayuga Lake National Bank, offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of mine for over 35 years. Great staffing at Cayuga Lake National Bank. Check them out. DA's Liquor on Bridge Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. By the way, the Padula family has been a sponsor of mine for 33 years. Bostrom Farms is a butcher shop focused on providing fresh, local meat to the Finger Lakes region. The retail store is located on Routes 5 and 20 in Stanley. They offer a full range of pork, beef, and chicken products that you can feel real good about. Buying food for your family should be fun. At Bostrom Farms, we put the fun and trust back into buying meat. The McGee Diner, located off New York State Thruway, exit 41. The McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country fresh home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and check out their menu at McGeeDiner.com. And I thank Gary and Kathy Schlegel for their fine support of Weber This Week. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. The Child Advocacy Center of the Finger Lakes is a child-friendly location where allegations of physical or sexual abuse are responded to by a multidisciplinary team of professionals. The team works together to conduct a thorough investigation and to provide necessary support services to children and their non-offending caregivers with a goal of minimizing further trauma to a child. The Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at newarkpilots.com. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at theomentheater.com, a fine sponsor of Weber This Week. The Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com. Hey, a couple of things I want to plug. Cicino's, by the way. Cicino's in, of course, Waterloo, Geneva, as well as our casino, Del Lago. Cicino's, great pizza, great paninis, good salads. So they have locations. They're sponsoring the show this month for us. And live, laugh, and eat well. It's the Italian way. It's Cicino's way. Locations, of course, in Waterloo, New York, Geneva, along with Del Lago. And they are busy. 17 hours they're out there working at Cicino's. So they do a great job. Hey, by the way, a couple other notes before I get back to Jimmer. A great benefit coming up in a week from this Thursday. The celebration to benefit Pathway Home. We know how precious that is. The folks that do a phenomenal job when you are near the end. And they're going to have a benefit coming up on Thursday, April 11th at 6 o'clock. That's at the Seneca Falls Country Club, 6 to 8. It's going to be at the Seneca Falls Country Club. That's Route 89 in Seneca Falls. Music's going to be provided by the Lipker Sisters. There'll be basket raffles. There'll be appetizers, cash bar. Tickets are only $30 each. Again, you can get the tickets at Cicino's in Waterloo, location, North Street Pharmacy in Geneva. Pathway Home Board members. Again, very good cause. So my wife and myself are looking forward to going to that event. We have got our tickets. So if you're not doing anything on the 11th for a couple hours, please come out and support the Pathway. Another comment regarding the Seneca Medals. They always put on great benefits and great sessions out there, educational-wise, and they have a lot of fun with kids. Coming up this Saturday between 3 and 4, the 6th of April, Seneca Medals Educational Center. We dye our Easter eggs with ingredients straight from nature. Come try your hand at these colorful creations and construct a nest to hold them. That's at Seneca Medals coming up this Saturday, April 6th, between 3 and 4 o'clock. That is a family program. And Jimmer and Jim, I'd be remiss if I didn't throw out a plug to my good friend Dick Marshall. If you want your car detailed, I had him detail my car the other day. Of course, Marshall's Auto, just outside of Seneca Falls. Been a friend of mine for 40 years. He detailed my car, very reasonable, and the car looks decent after the miserable winter.
Yes.
So if you want your car detailed, go to my buddy Dick Marshall. Well, Jimmer, one thing back with Jimmer McCormack, my special guest today on the Weber Show, one area that the casino, and I know the security guys take very seriously, both men and women, is when there's cash being put in the various machines out there. You guys go out there and have a certain procedure that you block off to make sure that's done without any interruption. And that's important because some people, I know you don't get them close by because that's something that's very private. You want to make sure there's no screw-ups.
Yeah,
that happens.
When we do the drop of the floor, when they in the middle of the night, guards go out with people from the main bank and they take the money out of the machine. So whether they do the table games every night and then they do the slot machines at half the floor one night, half another night, and then the last day of the month they just completed it was they do a mega drop of the entire floor. So it's an all hands on deck thing. And yeah, we try to stanchion off a particular area. If somebody's playing a machine, we tell them, look, you got to leave for a time being, and then when we're done, we'll let you back in. But CXC escorts, where they fill those cash machines, they're like an ATM on steroids. But those, again, you just try to, there's somebody from the main bank, their security officer, and they go around and refill these machines with money.
How often, I know that you have 100 and some people report to you through the different ranks. You have managers, of course,
yes,
below your level, right? You have how many managers that you have?
We have 3 shift managers.
3 shift managers, okay.
Yes.
And then they all report to you, and you oversee what they're in. So basically, your managers obviously take a look at who they're responsible for to make sure that they're doing things in order that you want done and they want done. So that works out well. And I think being a security guard, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but you want to be pleasant, obviously, to the customers because there's so many people that are in there, as you know. But also they have responsibilities, and I even see them walking around and push chairs in, just keep the place moving. And I know you do a lot of walk-arounds, which are important too. And the reason for that is what? Just make sure everything's in order. If anybody needs help of some sort.
Yep.
Yeah, I see a lot of the walk-arounds.
So what the security officer that you see in the podium when people come in, we have 4 entrances.
Right.
They're the first person the person sees or the guest sees when they come into this casino, and they're the last person they see on their way out. So we want them to be pleasant. We want them to be welcoming. We want them to greet the customer. And if they appear under 35 years of age, we want them to ask them for ID. Now, some people get upset over it, and some people say, well, I'm 50 and I can't believe you're asking for my ID. But it's a policies, it's our rules, it's procedures, it's all in our internal controls, which are regulated by the New York State Gaming Commission. So that's what we do. And we try not to let anybody on the casino floor that happens to be under 21. So that's a huge responsibility.
Do you see many people trying to sneak in?
Yes.
You do see a bunch of them?
We do.
You really? Try to get in?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah. I know they're going to try, but I think you get a lot of them. You catch them most of the time.
Well, we hope we catch them all. So. Yeah,
I know it's tough, and it is what it is. I think your team does a wonderful job, and I think that they just seem very hospitable to, well, not to me and our fellow workers, but I can see their work because we're in a perfect position to see them do their thing. And I love the fact that they come help us. We have a lot of issues where people lose their spouses. They're up in ages,
right.
Therefore, and they get perplexed and nervous. I said, relax, we'll get somebody from the security department to come over and help you. They will, and they come and they find out it's great. It makes them feel warm, and it's perfect. So we made it their day. The security guard has made their day, and it's just pleasant. Yeah. You mentioned about getting, ID'd. I find it interesting. You said that because literally, I'm 74 from the day. You go get beer. There's a lot of places that ask for ID now.
Yeah, Wegmans policy is they ID you no matter how old you are.
Right. So you don't. I don't get upset about it. It's part of it. Just show your license. Be done with it.
And we talked about that at one time, but I think that would be inefficient. At different times. Obviously, I would not ask you for your ID. I wouldn't ask myself for an ID. So, but that remains to be seen.
I know. Well, listen, when you're not working and overseeing a huge task force of overseeing some 100 and some employees, and you got 3 managers reporting to you, what do you like to do when you're not there working?
I walk my dogs every morning. That's a big deal. I have 2 Labradors. At one time, we had 5, and I walk them pretty much every day up and through Hobart and William Smith College, and during the summertime, I take them down swimming. And on Wednesday nights, weather permitting, from say mid-April to the end of October, I play golf in a league at Big Oak in Geneva. So
you like to play golf?
I do like to play golf.
There's nothing wrong with that. Who's your favorite professional golfer? Do you have a favorite?
I would have to say Mickelson.
He's something.
I'm a Mickelson fan, yeah.
He can get up from anywhere, can he? With his wedges?
He could also blow it from anywhere, but that's why I love him.
You know what I love him? You're right, I love him about it. He gets up and hits that driver, and and I know he's not going to hit the fairway.
Right.
He's going to go left to right. It's amazing, a guy with that many skill sets, and he is phenomenal. Short game. He's probably one of the best ever.
Yeah.
But you crack up when they show the shots taken off.
Yeah.
You got no clue where it's going.
No, sometimes he does not. That is correct. Yeah.
But Rory does. But what'd you think of did you watch any of the match play over the weekend?
I did. And I like Kevin Kisner. He's a Georgia grad. And so it was fun. And I like Matt Kuchar. So it was Georgia Tech against Georgia in the final. But it was fun to watch. In between basketball games, I did watch both games.
And you follow golf closely. I got to tell you that, in all honesty, did you ever think we'd get to the PGA Tour where these guys hit it this far?
No.
It's amazing, isn't it?
No, and in 2013 when they had the PGA at Oak Hill, I walked with Mickelson, Peter Uihlein, Brooks Koepka, and Ricky Fowler on practice stand Wednesday. I think it's 13 is the long par 5 that they had to lengthen because of these guys, and it's 300 yards to the creek. And they all were hitting irons off the tee, and then they went back because it was practice round, and they hit their drivers, and Brooks Koepka went over it by 40 or 50 yards. I mean, I was amazed. I was. Ball sounded like it was coming out of a rifle.
Now, I know you're a golf fan, and Jimmy loves golf, and so do I. I'm looking forward to playing some, getting back into the swing of things. What about slow play? It drives me nuts, and the European Tour is starting to assess penalties. They warn you once, and then you get a stroke.
Right.
Why don't we do that in the PGA Tour? I know they don't want to. Would that? Because, when they come up to you in the locker room and charge you or fine you $3,000, they just take out of the locker and hand you $300 bills.
Right.
It's not going to phase those guys.
No.
I don't know why we don't start
If
penalizing.
they get assessed strokes, then they might move it along.
It's amazing. Oh my God, it's amazing the slow play.
It was that commercial that was on for a while we're young, It's like from Caddyshack, and
DeChambeau takes his time.
Yes, he does.
But he's unique, but he can play.
He can.
So you follow the NCAA so far?
I watched the NCAA, like the playoffs, the Final Four,
right?
Whatever. And it's like baseball. There's so many games I really don't pay attention until it gets time to playoffs.
Well, I was going to get to that as we wrap up our show in a couple of minutes. For you folks that may not know, the Final Four is set. How's your bracket working out, by the way? How many of you had Texas Tech and Auburn in the Final Four? Michigan State, yes, a number 2 seed. You can understand that. Certainly Virginia, one of the number 1 seeds. They're there. Las Vegas lines. I'd like to pass this information along to you so you're aware of what the odds makers who spend or people get billions of dollars worldwide on gambling. These are Las Vegas, so they don't put these lines together for the looks. They understand, as Jimmer knows, they do a lot of analysis on these. First game, 6:09 on Saturday, so if you're not planning on going out with the missus and girlfriend, you may want to convince her to maybe go with dinner at 5 and get home by 6. Virginia takes on Auburn. Charles Barkley is loving this.
So am I.
Yes, you are.
I am.
So Virginia against Auburn. Virginia, 5.5-point favored in game number 1 at 6:09 start time on Saturday. The nightcap, Michigan State, a 3.5-point favorite against the Red Raiders of Texas Tech.
I'll take Michigan.
Yep. Yeah. Michigan State.
Yep.
And, of course, Jimmy is smiling ear to ear. Not only did Kisner win for the golf club, but his Dukies got beat. Jim, I always think of you when Duke gets beat. It was a good game, but it's over. So only one number 1 seed made it to the Final Four.
Yep.
That happens. So, and by the way, speaking of amazing things in the world of basketball, we're going to switch my topic, Jimmer, to women's basketball. I know I pinch myself when I see these women. The Connecticut women's team, which is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
They made, just the other day, they won a game. They're going to the Final Four. How many years in a row would you say? How about 12? 12 straight years.
Yep.
Final Four.
Amazing.
Jimmer, you got to pinch yourself. That's amazing.
Yep.
And, amazing. I mean, you think about women's basketball, and I know there's some great programs, and Connecticut's probably the best one over the last several years.
Yep.
But 12 straight Final Fours is pretty mind-boggling.
Pretty impressive.
Well, listen, as we close down the show, I appreciate you spending some time with us, and I look forward to seeing you on the floor and walking around, and I hope that the weather turns bright for us and we can both go out and play some golf. I know Jimmy's excited. Right, Jim? You excited? I know you are. Jimmy just got through doing 44 basketball games over a course of how many months? 3 or 4 months? 44 games they did for Finger Lakes 1, covering all the area and the sectionals and the states. So I know Jimmy can't wait to clean up his clubs and get ready to swing the ball. Well, listen, Jimmer, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, next week we got a couple more guests coming in the next 2 weeks, and then we'll have our finale, which, by the way, we'll probably do an hour show on our finale because, listen, we got the finale of my show, but we got Dave Barnick, who I hired in the early 70s to help me do sports. I brought in Jack DiPaolo to help me do sports, and Greg Cotterill has agreed to come in. So we got the whole team that we started in the 70s, and they'll all be here, and we're going to have a lot of fun as the finale bring back a lot of memories and some of the funny stuff that happened while we were going on the road to all these different schools covering games play-by-play. So it should be a lot of fun. You won't want to miss that one. But next week we have Claire Benjamin. She's extraordinary baker. She does chocolates. She does it all, cocktails. The woman is phenomenal. She joins us next week on the Weber Show. And then the following week, the 15th, a young man who just had back surgery. I hope he's doing well. He's back performing, so we know he is. I hope he is. And that is John Lamanna, who played at Del Lago on Friday night. So he's doing well. John Lamanna, great singer. He was here a couple of months ago. He's going to come back and be our last guest.
Now, is Claire going to bring samples? Because I could come back.
Well, I'll tell you what. You stay outside the door. I'll hand them to you.
All right.
All right. She's outstanding, Claire is. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again. For Jimmer McCormack, along with Jim Senecrobe, it's the dog, bidding you farewell. Enjoy your week, everybody.